Welcome to the Fantasy Football Prophet Podcast, hosted by Craig Phillips and Jeff Torrey. Visit us at fantasyfootballprophet.com. And now your hosts, Craig and Jeff.
Welcome everyone to the Fantasy Football Prophet Podcast. I'm Craig Phillips, joined as always by Jeff Torrey, and today we actually have a lot to talk about, Jeff. I mean, we haven't done an actual podcast in 2 weeks, and I think a lot has happened, and it's finally... I mean, the NFL season really doesn't die. Seems like there's like a little bit of a break after the Super Bowl, and now it's just so much news coming out. Free agency is kind of getting going right now. They can sign on Wednesday, so we're doing this, but it's Monday night, so teams can start signing players Wednesday, but they're able to meet with them today. There's all kinds of stuff going on, so we got a lot to talk about. So I don't know about you, but this is actually kind of exciting. It makes me want to be NFL season already, but we're still just under 6 months away. It's not too bad, right? Almost here.
Yeah, getting close. All this added knowledge, all these trades going on, all this free agent stuff. Yeah, I'm ready to get baback into it. It's a very much needed kind of push in the right direction for the season.
Well, if you're listening for the first time, it might be, as you know, NFL news is coming around. You want to see what's going on. Make sure you guys go check us out on Twitter at the FF Prophet. We're on Instagram, Fantasy Football Prophet. You can find us there. Website's fantasyfootballprophet.com, and you can always email us, send us your questions at fantasyfootballprophet@gmail.com. All right, Jeff, we should get right into it here. Talk about some of the big news that's going on. So first off, it's going to be the Cleveland Browns and just the moves they made. They're, I don't know, they're crazy right now. Just they do whatever to get some players here. And I've liked what they've done the last few years. I've kind of been interested to see where it's going to go, and now they get Jarvis Landry, didn't give up much to get him because he's only on a 1-year deal, and they trade for Tyrod Taylor, so they actually have a decent quarterback now, and they got rid of Deshaun Kaiser, got him out of there, which didn't really work out. He didn't show to me like he could be too great, but the Packers will use him as a backup quarterback probably, so that's not bad. But how about Landry and Tyrod Taylor to the Browns? What do you think?
I love everything about this. I'm slowly, I should say, because the last 2 years, I'm becoming a huge Cleveland fan. And it's not so much because, I mean, obviously they were still very bad, but I love every move they've been making. I love their draft picks. I love the way they're building their team. And the fact that they went out and got a quarterback, I will love. Will be the one that makes or kind of breaks it for me. And I realize a lot of people are going to say you should still spend that number 1 pick or number 5 pick on a quarterback. If they don't use either one of those on a quarterback, I don't mind if they get it 2nd round, 3rd round, whatever. If they don't use either of those on a quarterback and go out and get the best players they can, I think I will just sit there and start cheering for them because first of all, they should go out and get Saquon Barkley. And I
think that's the pick.
Rarely ever say that about a running back, but I think he is he looks like a can't miss thing. And I know I'm reiterating what everyone else is saying, but he looks like the real deal. And then they can go out and get a top end DB, say. Man, I mean, and then you look at their offense. You have Tyrod Taylor, who is kind of an underrated guy. He can do a lot of good things, and I think for a team that struggles, I think he's a great pickup. And you saw what he did with the Bills, right? He's not going to be prolific in the passing game, but he can run a little bit. He can do a lot of special stuff. He kind of can stretch out plays, especially for a young offense, which they'll have. And then their wide receivers, now you have Landry, a guy that is a great possession wide receiver, a guy that knows how to get open route running. Then you have Gordon, who, if he can return to even a little bit of himself, is a huge playmaker. Coleman, who will now be the number 3, and a young guy that has a ton of talent, you think. And then say you do get Saquon Barkley. You have a primetime running back with probably Duke Johnson backing him up, which is a great backup. I mean, my gosh, man. And Njoku, too, which they got last year. That whole offense is just completely redone in 2 years, pretty much. They had a few good pieces on the line, obviously. And then the defense, I think this is the year you really start turning that around. Obviously, you got Myles Garrett last year. Maybe you get top-end DB. Hopefully, Peppers can stay healthy this year, and he can kind of be more of a Swiss Army knife that they drafted him for. I don't know. There's a ton of stuff to like. I was geeking out over it. I love all of their stuff they're doing.
Yeah, I do too. I think they're for sure going to get Barkley. I don't see how they pass him up. And I think they're still going to go with I think they might go with the quarterback at 4. I really think they might.
I could see them doing it. I don't want them to. I would even, if somehow they could make a trade and use that pick to trade down and get 2 more really quality players, I think that would be great too. I think there's just a lot better value you can get being a terrible, terrible team like they were last year from that pick than doing a QB that you have to wait 2-3 years to really see production of. I think they're 1 year away from really needing to reach out and get the guy. But that's me. I'm not a GM. So
minor news for the Browns here. Duke Johnson looks like they're most likely going to re-sign him. They're engaging in talks right now, which Duke Johnson in that offense with all those other guys, I like him even more. He might be very sneaky because he's going to be forgotten about. But last year he had 74 catches and 1,000 yards and 7 touchdowns.
In PPR, he was very, very good.
If he has actually all these other weapons around him, he might be able to sneak around out there and do a lot more too.
Yeah,
it's going to be interesting.
I mean, what is his value if, say, they don't go out and get Saquon Barkley?
If they don't get Barkley, I think Johnson's going to go up because I don't see Crowell coming back. It doesn't.
No,
I don't hear any Crowell news right now, which for a young running back like him, it's kind of interesting. There's not much. Haven't heard anything from him,
which is strange because I've even heard little rattlings about Stewart, which you would think it has very little value. But that is confusing to me too.
But all right, after the Browns though, might as well talk about Kirk Cousins. He's probably the number 1 guy out there, I would say. Well, I mean Drew Brees too. I might talk about Drew Brees a little bit here, but it felt like the momentum was going in the Vikings' favor here, and I still think it is. But then there's some more reports that the Cardinals could be in the mix as well. Which, yeah, sure they will. But I still think it's the Vikings. The Broncos seem to be out in a way. I don't hear much about them. Not out. They're still going after him. But I don't hear as much. It seems like it's leaning Vikings for me. I don't know. That would be a great fit. I mean, he would be great there. But I don't know. Is it that much of a sure thing? It's weird right now that it says it's Vikings. Like it's all here.
I mean, if they have the money, that is the best landing spot for them. They really do have a very nice team and a lot of young pieces that they'll have for a long time. If I was Cousins, that's definitely my favorite landing spot as long as they're willing to be competitive with the pay.
I think they're going to. I think they're going to offer it. So maybe that is where you go.
Yeah, that is a scary team. I mean, they were a playoff caliber team that went pretty far on the shoulders of Case Keenum, who was their 1 year. That was it. Mm-hmm. Kirk Cousins, there's a lot of to love right there, especially now that you're getting Delvin Cook back as well.
Yeah, and that's why I think we might have to do another podcast here in 2 days on Wednesday, maybe Wednesday night when all this news comes down, because maybe we'll have more Cousins news. It's going to change so much in the next couple days, what's going on. And then actually the Vikings have now reached out to Drew Brees. Drew Brees, who everyone thought was just 100% sure thing, re-signing with the Saints. It's not as much of a sure thing. There hasn't, I guess, it doesn't feel like there's been much going on that front with him, which is weird.
Yeah, you wonder how much of this is a ploy.
I think it's,
You know what I mean? They're being part of that. Other teams still want me. I'm not over the hill. I'm sure his agent is out there trying to grab a few more mil because this will be his last contract.
He has to come back to the Saints. It's good. That's what's going to end up happening. But yeah, that he might not. The Saints might not want to give him 100% top dollar like he thinks he deserves. So hey, other teams might want him. He can get that money, so he can get the Saints to pay the money.
Yeah,
that's what's coming down.
Let's be honest. I would be shocked if he didn't end up there, and I'd be shocked if they didn't pay him. I think it would be catastrophic, honestly, if you let him go with the team they have right now.
Yep.
Who else are you going to get? You don't have a quarterback of the future, really. I don't know. That would be a bad move, I think. But who knows? Maybe that they're in a little more of a budget crunch than appears to be.
Well, then let's talk about a couple other quarterbacks. There's really not news on it, but it just kind of looks like the Bills and Broncos are going to be the teams looking for quarterbacks too. And the Bills, there's some rumors maybe they go after Sam Bradford if they don't. They still might draft a guy, obviously, but then maybe get Sam Bradford for a fill-in for a year or so. Bradford, that just seems to be what he is now. It's the fill-in quarterback. Then maybe they'd look at A.J. McCarron. Same thing with the Broncos. I'm hearing Case Keenum could go to the Broncos if they miss out on Cousins, which could be a good fit. Or McCarron as well. Either way, I think those are better than what they had, the Broncos, but still, I don't know. Case Keenum, he was on a very good team with the Vikings. I think they made him look a lot better than he probably is. I don't know how. I mean, he's better than Trevor Siemian, probably, but how much?
Yeah, I mean, no, I kind of want to go to bat for Keenum. I think he is I think he's an okay quarterback. Yeah. I honestly do. He didn't do that bad with the Rams either. I don't know. I don't want to completely crush the guy. If he wouldn't be my number one pick, obviously. But I think he's an average quarterback. I think you could do a lot worse than him. So I do think he's a big upgrade over what they had. But I mean, this is a question. Is he better than AJ McCarron?
I don't know. We haven't seen enough AJ McCarron. No. There's AJ McCarron. I mean, and I'm not saying in play anything like that, because I haven't been studying AJ McCarron tape, but it reminds me of, why the heck can I remember his name from last year that went to the Bears? Oh my God, it just drew.
Oh, Mike
Glennon. And it reminds me of that situation, a guy who's been a backup for years.
Or what about Matt Flynn?
Yeah, that kind of thing. Like, it's the same kind of thing where this guy's been a backup for years and shown in the little bit of work, they show some flashes. Oh, this guy could play. Maybe. And then they get this big contract and they're not amazing.
He should thank Garoppolo for getting traded and actually performing at the end of the year.
Oh, yeah.
Makes everyone forget about all the other quarterbacks that don't work out.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I don't know. I mean, either way, if the Broncos don't get Cousins, it's not going to be a great situation. They want Cousins. Like, that could turn the team around. Without him, I don't know what to expect from them. I don't know.
Maybe they'll go out and draft a guy or...
Yeah, they just did that 2 years ago in the first round with Paxton Lynch, and that didn't work out.
This is my issue, to go back to Cleveland as well. I feel like that is a very dangerous, like, you can't miss on a quarterback. You know what I mean? It will set your team back no matter what.
Well, that's why Cleveland they kept passing in the first round the last 2 years. They didn't get Wentz. Smart. They didn't get Watson, which both of those guys turned out, yes, but maybe they wouldn't have in the situation in Cleveland at the time.
I do have to say, the amount of quarterbacks Cleveland has gone through, and they did kind of wait on all of them. I mean, I'm trying to think of the last handful, but you had Manziel, who you got late in the thing, in the
Brandon
first
Weeden a couple years
exactly, and they got him in the second or something because he was older, and then now Kaiser. They're kind of just trying it out, but if you have a bad team, no quarterback is going to make the difference.
No, it's hard to, and it's just going to kind of hurt their progress in a way, I think, if they're, not have anybody surrounding them. It's much different for like Deshaun Watson having to throw the ball to DeAndre Hopkins and Carson Wentz going into that offense that he had. It's not the same thing if he would have gone to the Browns. They probably wouldn't have been nearly as good.
Oh, no, much different.
All right, so how about DeMarco Murray, officially released from the Titans? We kind of saw that coming. That seemed to be where things were going there. And he visited with the Lions today, and it looks like he's going to be visiting with the Seahawks now tomorrow. So no real news on where he's leaning and how much interest those teams. He's not going to be a big deal. It's not going to be a big contract for him at 30 years old. But both of those teams could use him. So I don't know, as Lions fans, I don't really know if I want DeMarco Murray. Maybe a 1 year deal?
Yeah.
A 1 year deal. That's it. But I don't know, fantasy-wise, how exciting this is.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit... I just don't know if he's going to stay healthy or anything. I think it's a bigger deal if he goes to the Seahawks, because I think he could truly be the guy. I think if he goes to the Lions, you're going to still pepper in a bunch of these running backs. Abdullah, Riddick. Yep. They kind of find little niches for all these guys. So, but Seahawks, he could. I just don't know how much I believe him in him anymore. And I know someone will value him higher than I will, because he really did... he just looked slower last year.
How many of these end of career running backs, this happens all the time. They go over these 1 year deals and no, they're not good.
Yeah.
They're just not. I mean, Adrian Peterson from last year, he wasn't good. He had one game really, maybe 2 games that he was good with the Cardinals after he got traded. These guys it doesn't really happen.
No,
so,
I mean, even Lynch, who he was fine.
He wasn't
anything special, no. Yeah. And he's not that kind of player. He's still more of a grind him out player, so you weren't sure if it was going to hurt him as much. And even, every person slows down when you're taking that kind of punishment.
How about then Derrick Henry, his value? Now, DeMarco Murray's gone, so not talk about a guy who's leaving for once, about Derrick Henry. Where does this put him? Second round of drafts for sure, right?
Oh, skyrockets him, without a doubt.
This is the thing I hate so much. What's going to happen in our drafts. Like, Well, somebody can probably keep him in one of our drafts. But
I laughed. I actually, as soon as I heard this news, I had a trade I did in our main league, actually, me and Craig's main league, where I traded. I had Derrick Henry, and I traded him so he could be a keeper because he was really, relatively cheap for a running back. Traded him, and I got AJ Green, and everyone lost their minds, and they said that Derrick Henry wasn't going to be worth it. And I was like,
it worked
you
out.
watch. Yeah, and it did. It worked out way better for him because AJ Green didn't do anything for me, really, in that playoff run. So, joke's on me.
I think he's going to be good, but I just always, being more conservative with stuff like that, I like to stay away. I don't like to pick him in the second when there's other guys that have proven it so far. I mean, he's been good. He's been good.
I was going to say, I don't think there's any doubt that he'll be good.
He'll be good, but I don't 100% know he's going to be just great.
Right. I guess that's the question is where's that drop off between the running backs that have done it and Derrick Henry.
Well, the thing is, he's still going to be there right after the top of the list of guys that have done it because the list to me, it's great at the beginning. Then it drops off, I feel like. There's a spot where it just gets ugly.
Well, I don't know about ugly. It does drop off, but
I mean, there's no sure thing. There's not like as much sure things. I mean, probably. Right now we don't know the situations on some.
I'm trying to think of like a good. Well, okay, let's do this. Jordan Howard's still relatively high, right? Jordan Howard or Derrick Henry? I'm actually surprised.
I think I might go Derrick Henry. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm actually kind of surprised with you. I didn't think you were a Jordan Howard fan.
I'm not a big Jordan Howard fan.
Okay, what about Ingram? Knowing that he has to split with Kamara.
God, that's where he is right there, isn't he? With these guys.
Yeah, he is.
I go Derrick Henry. Yeah.
Yeah. So he could easily. He's gonna be in the top 10 of running backs now. I bet.
I guess you are right because I am gonna go Derrick Henry over those two probably. I mean, especially for sure Ingram because I don't know the situation. I worry about that, but
right. But he's the only guy in town right now.
He is.
I mean, Derrick Henry is going to be, and he is built for that too. He is going to be built to be the goal line back, to be the primary 1-2, first two downs. And then maybe they'll have a guy that they, put in for that third down, catch him back. But right now I'm looking at the roster, and I don't see a guy. So unless they pick him up, Derrick Henry could be a huge feature back.
Funny thing is I just threw up Fantasy Pros. I wanted to see their, early ranks right now and what the consensus is. And Henry right now is 12th. 13th is Mark Ingram, 14th is Jordan Howard.
that's just lucky. But who are say the next four guys above him?
Right above him, LaShawn McCoy, Devontae Freeman, Dalvin Cook, Melvin Gordon. So,
okay, the other two guys, right above him,
McCoy and Freeman.
McCoy and Freeman.
So I could see that's
an interesting one.
I could see him as a top 10. Yeah, I could see him at 10.
My guess is he'll go like 8th or something like that.
I do see it. Yeah.
In running backs, not 8th overall.
Because that's I'm telling you where the drop off. I guess it's not like a huge. It's not as much of a sure thing. So like after Howard at 14 goes Joe Mixon's 15, which I like Joe Mixon. I don't know if I like him. I like him.
Let's be honest. I like Derrick Henry more.
Exactly. But if Joe Mixon's your 15, he's proven nothing.
No.
And then it goes Christian McCaffrey, Kenyon Drake, Carlos Hyde, J.J. Lamar Miller. It falls off. Well, Saquon Barkley's. He will get up there. He's 22nd right now. That's going to change.
That's a good point. He'll jump ahead of Derrick Henry. Yeah. Well, no, I don't. Well,
I think he will.
Know. I do too, but I'm not sure if that is always the best idea. Like Derrick Henry, for as much as we say he has improved it,
he's been good. Yeah.
But let's be honest. The last 2 years, rookie and then sophomore season. First year he had 110 rushes with 5 TDs, average 4.5 yards a carry. This last year, 176 carries. 4.2 average with 5 touchdowns again. And he could easily 250 to more than likely he's going to be getting 275 carries even if he misses, say, a game in there. Like that's how much they're going to give him the ball probably.
Yeah, I mean, there's not going to be another back in town.
No.
You don't see many situations like that. So even if I'm worried about it and I don't feel great about it, situation is what it is. And
and think about how many carries a bell cow gets if they do stay healthy, because you look at someone and just because I have McCoy up, he's he plays on all downs, so it's a difficult one. But when he did play all 16 games, he got over 300 carries.
Yep.
And even last year, he's an older back, 16 games, 287. So if he can keep that average yard around 4 yards a carry, I mean the guy's gonna be a beast. And he could easily get double-digit touchdowns.
And again, if somehow he's right at that spot where maybe you can get him as your second running back. Yeah, Henry's your second. Maybe you get lucky.
Possible.
He's right there. All right. How about some wide receivers? Allen Robinson, he's not going back to the Jaguars. It kind of looks pretty clear.
So I was wrong on that one.
Yep, me too. I kind of thought that was going to happen. It looks like for sure that's not. And I'm hearing Packers, Bears. Those are the names thrown out there so far. Well, nothing really big going on, but Packers, wow, that would be something.
Yeah, that would be something. I was going to say that is a vastly different production. Bears, and Packers.
I'll group it in with the next guy, Sammy Watkins, who I thought was a sure thing to go back to the Rams. But now that they didn't get the deal done before free agency started, he's been able to talk to these teams, and there's more teams interested than you think. Packers, Bears, both there. Chiefs also. Jaguars actually interested as well, and Sammy Watkins looks like. But so Packers, that's what I'm more interested about with Robinson and Watkins. Either one of those guys goes to the Packers, top 10 wide receiver for me.
Yeah, skyrockets.
Maybe Sammy's not, but I think that could happen. I think they should be top 10. I would love it that much.
I think because they're both injury prone now, you have to think that way. It will hurt their stock.
I won't rank it like that, but I might.
But if they go, this is my question. Besides, you take the Packers out of it. Yeah, if he goes with Aaron Rodgers, either one of them, they're gonna they could be a monster, right? If they do not go to the Packers, we take that out of it, and we're talking about those other couple teams that you talked about, the Bears, Chiefs. Very unproven quarterback situations.
Chiefs would be interesting.
What happened? Do you think Watkins do you think they hurt their fantasy stock by not going back to their original teams?
No, Watkins, if he goes Packers or Chiefs or Bears, I think any one of those teams, Jaguars, I think he's going to be just better fantasy wise.
Watkins, you think?
Yeah, Watkins will, because with the Rams, I think he could be good, but they're not going to just try to feature Sammy Watkins in any way. The Bears would. Trubisky would be all over that. He has no one to throw to.
Yeah, I'm afraid he's already injury prone. One of these young quarterbacks, you could easily get this guy killed. I think it actually helps. I think both of these. Well, I think it actually helps Allen Robinson to leave because I'm not a huge fan of Bortles and obviously they have a ton of other weapons. Very similar, I guess, to the whole situation with Watkins, right? You have Gurley, you have a couple other guys you can throw to, but I actually like Watkins sticking with the Rams. I think that is a better place for him.
It's a good team.
But Allen Robinson, I think it's a good move to get out of Dodge. I just didn't think he would after the injury.
And also, I'm just reading another update from earlier today that 49ers and Browns, two other teams interested in Allen Robinson. So,
well, Browns have all the cash in the world still.
So either way,
that would be insane. Really, if they got four of those guys, you should just go 4 wide with Saquon Barkley.
Oh, that's going to be. But either one of those, if the Packers get one of these top receivers, man, that'd be fun to see what's going to happen with Devontae Adams, with Robinson or Watkins, Jordy probably still be there. But
can you imagine if Jordy Nelson wasn't the number one? If you lined him up in the slot, and
he's like the third. He'd be the third.
You're try to guard him. You're just a smarter player than whoever's going to be guarding him.
There's already talk that either Nelson or Cobb could be released. I just don't see it. Even if it's, but either way, if they sign one of these guys for sure, I think Cobb's gone 100%. I think they'll get rid of Cobb. They can't have his contract's too much. They can't keep him on the books with getting another guy. So. I think he would go, or maybe they'd realize maybe it's Nelson's time. He just doesn't have it. So, that'd be. I'm interested. I'm always really excited about seeing what's going to go on there. Okay, another guy, Jimmy Graham. Saints really interested in him, but the Packers have reached out.
Yeah, I think
Packers and a tight end, and
once again, we've talked about this, but go back to the Saints. I think that's a great spot for him. I think Packers, every time they get a good tight end, it's just smoke and mirrors. It doesn't ever produce.
I don't know, but Jimmy Graham. Okay, let's get Jimmy Graham and Allen Robinson or something.
I mean, either way, it just Aaron Rodgers. I would just throw all my money at Aaron Rodgers.
The Packers and tight end thing hasn't really worked out. But if Aaron Rodgers had Jimmy Graham to throw the ball to, I just feel like he's going to use it.
Yeah, this is my thing. We always thought that, though.
I know. We thought that would happen
Finley,
with Martellus Bennett.
Yeah, Bennett, Cook. Cook looked good for 2 games in the playoffs,
it's true.
He left.
I just feel like it'd be different.
Yeah, I know. This is a trap. I feel like it's a trap. I love Jimmy Graham. He probably would be better than those guys, but I still, You probably have to overpay for a guy that's just going to be the top 10 tight end, nothing too crazy.
Yep. I'm interested in all this. I want to see where these players go. This week's going to be great.
This is a great time of year.
I love this week.
Because you get to just speculate, too. Yeah, what if this happens? Oh, my God. I would throw so much money at him.
Yeah, I love it. I'm very excited. Okay, so those are the biggest, most interesting things. So there's some other things, other players, maybe not as exciting, but still talk about him. C.J. Anderson looked like the Denver was going to release him. Now I think they've kind of gone back on that. and they might actually look to trade him, see if there's some value out there. I don't know how much value C.J. Anderson has. I think he could still be good in the right situation. If he's Denver's running back, he might be decent, but he'll split time with Booker. Maybe someone wants him. I don't know who.
Dude, I don't hate on the guy, and I think Denver looked at the other running backs. They were going everywhere, and people were meeting with him, and they're like, "Holy crap, CJ's not worse than these guys."
He's fine. Like he doesn't have a terrible contract either. His contract's fine. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Then Dion Lewis looks like he's pretty much gone from Patriots for sure. He's not going back. And Jets, Titans, Colts, all interested. It feels like the Colts kind of maybe in the lead there, which could be an interesting one. I don't know what to think about that. He's not like, he doesn't feel to me like he's the true like number one running back. So I don't know. They go with like a Marlon Mack, Dion Lewis thing, which it doesn't like seem like to me. I'm not like terribly excited about it. Are you? I mean, I like Dion Lewis, but I liked him on the Patriots. I liked him in his offense. I don't know if he can do it on another team.
I think the only thing he does is I feel like he just hurts everyone else's, Titans.
Titans would be interesting.
I think he would be a good fit for the team, but it would hurt Derrick Henry. I don't think either of them benefit. So purely fantasy-wise, I don't get excited about
Jets, he wouldn't be. Jets would suck, and they're not good.
Yeah, maybe they give him a payday, and then I'm like do it, man.
Shoot, so I don't know what's going to happen there. It's just going to depend on situation for him. Doug Martin met with the Raiders, is what I've heard so far. Have you heard any other teams? I've just heard the Raiders. That's about it.
That's all I heard, too.
And so, and we expect Lynch to be back, so it kind of looks like Doug Martin's not really going to get a big look anywhere. He's going to end up on a team, but I don't see him as like a number one back.
Yeah, and the Raiders backfield, I don't know what to make of it, especially if they go out and get someone like Doug Martin.
Yeah.
Well, what in the world? I don't know what they're doing anymore if they do.
I had heard a little bit about Jerick McKinnon before. I haven't heard it recently.
Once again,
there, so I don't know.
None of that makes sense to me, really.
Jonathan Stewart visiting Seattle and Detroit so far. Detroit, come on.
Dude, I don't understand. Is he going on like a huge value? Because I don't understand how this guy is garnering so much attention.
Right now it seems like it's just Seattle and Detroit looking at these old running backs.
Well, yeah, maybe
if you
it
get
is
him on a minimum,
price point thing.
Yeah, I guess. Dante Moncrief, heard the Ravens are interested. Looks like he's not going back to the Colts. Go to the Ravens. That's boring.
The Ravens. I don't know how much we can say how much we don't care about the Ravens, but whoever goes there is going to get paid, and they're not going to be worth that much.
No, they're just not. And Dante Moncrief was just kind of a disappointment anyway to me.
Yeah, he was. I mean, first of all, he got hurt, and then luck wasn't there. I expected a lot more out of him, but talk about being dealt a crappy hand.
Yeah, so I don't know. Kind of interested. Paul Richardson. It looks more and more like he might leave Seattle, which, okay, that'd be fine. I don't really know what Paul Richardson is. I don't know if he's good or if he's not. I don't know.
No idea.
He seemed like he had showed signs that he could be good, but is that just Russell Wilson? So Redskins were interested in him. I'm not interested in the Redskins.
No, I don't see any landing spot where I'm like, ooh,
maybe.
Redskins.
I haven't heard any Terrell Pryor talk now. Especially, remember I heard a little bit. We heard the going back to the Browns maybe, but I think that's out of the not happening now. Getting Landry.
You never know.
He'd go as a fourth.
Yeah, I mean he would because he didn't do anything last year, so you could probably get him, as a really good discount.
Yeah. Some exciting news: Torrey Smith traded to the Panthers. Yay!
Just silence.
Adrian Peterson was released by the Cardinals.
Yeah, I figured that.
If he wants to play, he's going to end up on a team. But that's just crazy how quickly running backs are just done. Adrian Peterson, probably one of the best running backs ever, and he's just like no one wants him. It's weird.
Yeah. I mean,
and it's just weird. It's just a strange thing. Let's see here. Well, the Lions possibly looking to trade Eric Ebron, and also they're interested in Trey Burton. They've kind of emerged as one of the front runners for Trey Burton, which he looked good in the time he was out there for the Eagles. He was, obviously overshadowed by Zach Ertz, but he showed some signs. And I guess people hopefully it's not just the fact that he threw a touchdown pass in the Super Bowl that gets people excited about him.
Right.
But he's possibly kind of sounds like Matt Patricia might not be a big Eric Ebron fan. It's kind of what I'm getting.
I realize that, that we live in Michigan, so, we hear a lot about the Lions. But Eric Ebron is a perfect example of kind of holding out because he has so much physical talent. If he's not going to stick around anyway, if you can't re-sign him, You got to trade him, try to get something for him. Plus, he hasn't really produced the way you want him to. So I think if you can get value and get someone like Burton who you think will produce just as much, I think it's a good move. Because otherwise it will cost you money in the long run.
Some other Mike Evans signed a new 5-year, $82 million contract. They're really going all there. He's their guy. So
yeah, he
had
still
a down year, I guess, but he's great.
Yeah, down year, and he still did very well in football terms without Winston a lot of times.
49ers re-signed Marquise Goodwin, 3 years, $20 million. So he got a pretty decent deal.
He really did. He got paid. Good for him, man.
We'll see if that continues. That kind of play continues with Jimmy Garoppolo. So he looked really good out there with Garoppolo.
He did. Well, he was a viable fantasy option.
He really was for a while there. He did pretty well. So.
Do you think that's going to continue this year?
I think he could. I think people are getting a little too much on the 49ers hype train, though. Like thinking, I've seen like different polls and stuff. Will the 49ers make the playoffs? And they all end up over 50%. Yeah. I don't know about that. Let's just settle down a little bit.
Yeah, I think everyone is really way too excited about Garoppolo.
Yeah, he was good. He
was good, but over a season.
I'm going to refresh Roto World, see if we missed anything while we were talking. At
this rate,
I'm just curious if there's anything going on. Let's see. I had the Duke Johnson news. The big news is Albert Wilson. The Dolphins have emerged as front runners for Albert Wilson from the Chiefs. Yay! It's exciting, right?
All right, just because we're
trade Landry and let's get Albert Wilson.
At the end of this, for the data that we have right now, for the news that has come out, who has been the biggest surprise, and who do you think moved up the most on your board personally in fantasy? Doesn't have to even be number one. It just who moved up the most.
I don't know yet. Sammy Watkins, even though he hasn't signed yet.
We're gonna start this all over before season 3 even begins.
I think it's Sammy Watkins.
You're gonna get on that freaking Sammy Watkins train, dude. If he's gonna leave the Rams, and I'm gonna hate him again, it's gonna be this parody every year.
I think it's Sammy Watkins. I think he's the big winner here, and nothing's happened, and it's just teams that haven't even talked to him.
I know what you're doing right now. You're just trying to upset me.
I think it's Sammy. I think that's the one. Yeah, I think it's Sammy Watkins.
You gotta be kidding me.
No, I think it's Sammy Watkins. Actually, quarterback, I think it could be Tyrod Taylor, actually, in a weird way, because he has better weapons. Okay, I'm saying this as just I'm putting Barkley on their team. Saquon Barkley's on the Browns to me already.
Yeah, I think it's kind of safe to say.
So with him on the Browns, I think this is Tyrod Taylor's best team. I think it is. He had McCoy and Sammy Watkins for a year, but he never really had a full healthy. And he had Robert Woods. I guess he had some good. Andy Markey's good. Oh my God.
Yeah, well, a lot of people left, and then they became viable options. Yeah. So you wonder, was it Tyrod?
So it actually makes me think. They had Sammy Watkins, Robert Woods, and Marquise Goodwin as their receivers.
You do have to say, no one was able to stay healthy, and that was a different team.
None of them have been good, but this is his best team. With
definitely his best wide receiving
Barkley,
core.
Landry, Gordon, Coleman.
Because it's great to have McCoy, but they also leaned on him so much.
David Njoku.
He really does have a stacked, talented...
I think he is going to be, I think he's going to be good. I think he can be. I think he's good enough before, fantasy-wise with the running ability, and he actually has weapons around him now.
Yeah, this is my question. Jarvis Landry is always a darling, right? He kind of goes up and down. People not sure what to make of him. How much does his stock improve or fall now that he goes to the Browns?
I think it's similar. I don't know if he goes up or goes down, really. I think I don't think he's going to... Maybe he gets more yards, maybe he gets more touchdowns, but the catches, maybe, I don't know. He's similar. I don't see him, right now I don't see a big difference because I think he has a better wide receiver outside of him now with Josh Gordon and Coleman. His receivers were okay in Miami, but Parker never really got going. Kenny Stills was just kind of, he wasn't nothing special to me. So I think Landry will stay decent, stay in the same kind of spot. But I was thinking about Tyrod. Let's think of the way things they can do with Tyrod and Barkley. How they could run that offense and run option, just.
That's what I love about it so much. Whenever you stall out, right? Obviously they were very, very bad. They were, you couldn't even hardly win a game. Then, you lose Crowell, which everyone thought was going to be good last year. And whenever you stall out like that, what do you want? You want a quarterback that can increase the play, lengthen it, and you look at all these guys. And I realize he's not the same player as, say, a Wilson. Because, just the throwing ability and the, fitting in tight windows. Not the same, but he sure as hell can run like him.
Yep.
And if you can run around that backfield a little bit and you have Joe Thomas blocking for you and you can just throw it up to a Josh Gordon that's now healthy, I mean, you have a whole lot more options.
It's going to be fun to watch. I'm really excited to see what they do.
And Barkley,
they have to draft Barkley.
I know, I do too. I really hope they don't take a quarterback in their first 2 picks. I will be a fan for life, and if you take a quarterback, especially one of these guys, not to get into it, it can be a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, we will. But these guys are all like the same to me. I don't know who's best. And no one does.
I don't care. I'm not that excited
like 5
about
guys. I mean, I funny thing is, I like Lamar Jackson the best out of all 5 of those.
Only because tell me this. It should be an entire different podcast. But Lamar Jackson, the only reason you're saying that is because you can get him at a discount, Probably. Or do you actually think he's going to be the best quarterback?
I think he might be the best quarterback. But I'm also that's going off listening to Chris Sims talk on. Heard him on the Levitard show the other day. Yeah. He said Lamar Jackson's the best, so I trust Chris Sims. So that's why I'm going with Lamar Jackson.
I love his athletic ability, and if you could get him, say, in the 2nd round or something like that, and you put him behind Tyrod, so he could have a few years to learn from him, that'd be cool. Yep. But I just for the Browns, I feel like you need someone with a chip on their shoulder kind of thing. I would be very scared to take, the USC, the Wyoming, I think the only guy would be Oklahoma, and just because he doesn't look like anything's going to really phase the kid.
Yeah, true. That is true. I don't know. Yeah, we'll get into the draft preview at some point. All right, before we go, got a listener question came in. It's a keeper question from Isaac. Here's his question. Well, first off, he says, don't ask me how, but I ended up with Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown in a 1-keeper league. This is full point PPR. Who do you keep?
Full point PPR.
Do you keep Bell or Antonio Brown?
Oh my gosh.
I would just say,
is that your number 1 pick? You have to keep one person.
Yes.
So no money is involved.
I believe he has the 4th pick in the draft, but he doesn't say that this is like he doesn't get the pick or whatever. I think either way, either one of these guys is worth
that pick.
Normally, I'd say Bell pretty much right away. But Bell's going to be interesting here with this whole contract situation. We didn't mention that. They franchise tagged him again, which he's not terribly happy with. He's not going to retire, like there was that stupid talk earlier. But he's going to hold out if they don't get a deal. He's going to hold out, and he's going to hold out till season starts again. I don't know. This is a tough one. You know what I'm going to say, Isaac? I don't know yet. Let's wait.
No, I'll just give you.
Let's wait.
Today, what I would do, I would still take Le'Veon Bell.
Yes, I would too. I'm still going to lead in Bell.
And believe me, either one, I wouldn't blame you. But let's be honest, in a PPR league, I think Bell is even that much more productive.
Yeah, he is.
Even last year, he had 85 receptions for a running back.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yep. So, yeah.
So
things could change, obviously, with Bell's contract situation. But I'm going to lean Bell. So.
It was crazy. You know how I was talking about how McCoy, he got 300 touches when he played a full season. Le'Veon Bell, just to show what kind of class he is on his own, 321 rushes last year and 85 catches.
That's crazy.
In 15 games.
Yeah.
F my life, that is major production.
He's good.
But anyway, that's why I would go with him. But Craig has a very good point. A guy that is going to just be poisonous in the locker room until he gets paid, until he gets what he wants to do.
Let's wait and see what happens.
I don't know.
Yep. All right. I think that's going to do it. And I think we might have another podcast this week. It's all going to depend on how the news comes down. And so maybe we'll have one, I don't know, maybe we'll do something Wednesday night and teams can sign, maybe Thursday night. I don't know. It's just going to depend on what happens this week because this is crazy. Free agency. I love it. Best time, one of the best times of the year. Then we'll have a little bit of a break, and then it's NFL draft at the end of next month already. So
and once again, get everything ready. But we will be coming out with more and more content. And just so you know, season 3 of Fantasy Football Prophet will start April 3. So put it on your calendars. We'll start putting out more and more. You'll have multiple podcasts. Plus, we're going to start putting out unique content out on YouTube. Yeah. So be on a lookout for that. It's going to be another avenue for you guys to get a little more bite-sized pieces. So if you don't have time for a full hour-long podcast, you can go there and get some good info as well. So look out for that. Go get us on Instagram. Always some lovely graphics from your main man Craig over there. So check us out there, and then you know what I mean? get ready for season 3.
Yeah, you can find us on YouTube. Just go youtube.com/fantasyfootballprophet. That's all you got to do. Real simple. So check us out there. You can find us there. Subscribe, there as well. You'll get some stuff that you won't see on the podcast feed. So do that. Yeah, starting April 3rd, then we'll start. I think we're going to start with our division by division previews. So go team by team. We're going to talk about every single team, basically every single fantasy relevant player. So that's how we're going to literally talk about every player that might have any kind of fantasy relevance. So that'll be fun. Especially we'll know where Kirk Cousins is going to play and that Sammy Watkins' value just jumped.
Absolutely.
So, all right.
And once again, if you have any other questions, go ahead and shoot us an email. Like always, we will eventually answer them.
Yep. All right. And then we'll talk to you guys probably later this week. So for episode 199, this was at 198. We're almost to 200. Next week we'll hit 200. So that'll be a special celebration for that one. Maybe. Probably not. Be a normal episode. We'll talk about free agents. That's will be exciting. All right. We'll talk to you guys later.